Bonjour mes amis, hi guys! At Basel World 2018, Grand Seiko celebrated the 20th anniversary of their 9S family of movements with the release of 4 limited edition pieces adorned with gorgeous mosaic dials with tiny GS and company emblem logos. Luckily, in Hong Kong, you can find anything. And a couple of months ago, I tried on the blue dial one, which is perfectly proportioned, runs a high beat movement, has a nice bracelet with some polished details, and a really exciting blue skeletonized rotor. Had I not just bought my JLC Reverso earlier that very same day and already owned my blue Omega Aquaterra, I would have fallen for it, as only 1,500 of those have been made. Fast forward to yesterday, I stumbled on the chocolate brown dial at another store by chance again. This one has just been released this July and is a very different watch, even if at first glance only the dial color is different. Yet the case has different angles and facets than the blue cousin. And I have to say, it's one hesitation I have with Grand Seiko. Their cases are subtle variations of each other's and really don't differ to me all that much from the $300 Seikos. But then again, it's not like there are that many ways to shape a case, and the same can be said of most watchmakers. And yes, the finishing on the Seiko is incredible. You will dread the first scratch in the polished sections for sure. I must admit that the different levels of polishing quality are often lost on me, while other people will be totally bedazzled by the differences. And it's true that this watch is a very convenient little mirror. Now, the dial is superb, nicer than the blue version probably, as the golden brown hue pops in person. The contrast on the lightly tanned skin is incredible. The gold GS logo and seconds hand add to that effect. Inside, you have a 9S68 movement, which is an oversized version designed last year to fit in larger enclosures. 28,800 beats per hour only, but it is a GS caliber, which means it goes beyond Swiss standards of adjustment. 17 days of testing, 6 positions, 3 temperatures. That's dedication to perfection, and the reason why one day your mind finally fathoms spending over $4,000 on a Seiko. Everything at Grand Seiko is about perfecting the art of watchmaking, and that's what Japan manufacture is all about in a nutshell. The power reserve is a comfortable 3 days, and the water resistance is 100 meters, which places the watch as a strong contender for an everyday all-purpose companion, even though it has no lume, which is one of the downside. But it's a bit more of a dressier, sporty watch, let's say. Now on to the proportions. It's bizarre, the watch is a fairly wide 42 millimeters, but with rather short lugs, it wears well on my medium-sized 17 cm of circumference wrist and has tons of presence. However, the watch remains substantial at 13.5 mm of thickness, and all that steel shows its weight. In a world of endless, more slender options, including in the Seiko lineup, I couldn't really make up my mind on the spot. Sure, the limited edition factor and that superb dial will help the watch keep some value, which is a relief as it costs $4,400, which is a good price here in Hong Kong, cheaper than I've seen online. But is it special enough to keep all of that value? Probably only to a limited but surely growing number of GS enthusiasts. And who knows, maybe in 10 years these watches will be all the rage. But one must factor in expensive service costs, recommended every 3 years by Seiko. And also, I can't get out of my mind 3 watches of my own collection that directly compete with it. Firstly, the Omega Seamaster Aquaterra. Better proportions, modern tech, similar performance, and more exciting visually, I think. Grand Seiko just doesn't take any chances with designs. Some effort on the hour markers and hands would go a long way to turn on my interest. Then you have the titanium ultra comfortable $1,000 SARC 055. It is just as original when it comes to the dial. It'll keep good value because of that, and that little 6R15 caliber is damn accurate and will cost nothing to service or swap altogether. The watch is much slender and to most people looks just as refined, since Seiko has perfected how they polish titanium. Then, one step lower in the Seiko family, you have the SARB 033, which never fails to impress me every time I pick it up. At the end of the day, Seiko fanboys geek over details more than for any other brand, and the finish and comfort of this piece is incredible. And again, the 6R15 is accurate to the second so far after 1 year. It's perhaps my most accurate watch. If I didn't own any of these three watches, which altogether cost less than the Grand Seiko SBGR311, I would have perhaps bought the watch to experience Grand Seiko. But as it stands, and with the incoming release of other Baselworld stunners from Omega and Tudor, I'm unsure. Also, I think that many watch enthusiasts would only consider Grand Seiko for their high beat and spring drive options. Part of me feels that this watch celebrates a caliber that might altogether retire soon, but I am probably totally wrong there, as it has evolved over the years. So unless I win the lottery this week, that'll probably be it, but I'm sure I will regret the decision a little bit, because if you can afford it, it is a superb and original watch that showcases Grand Seiko's manufacturer talent at its best. Until next time, take care.